Hey, how are you doing? My name is Rod Lucier. I live in Kamoka, Ontario. And over the next few weeks, I'm going to be piloting some workshops on making stuff. I call it epic making. It's really a lot about design thinking. And I thought I'd give you just a little bit of an overview of what to expect, what it's all about. First thing, let you know that I'm a recently retired teacher. After teaching for 30 years, I sat down and started to think about all of the key ideas that I think are at the heart of really good teaching. And I came up with a list of words that ran over a page long. But now I've sort of boiled it all down to this idea about hooking people into doing things and loving doing it. And just in order to date myself, this was one of my favorite memories of school, was the idea of being able to get up and move the little felt people around on the felt board, whether it's telling a story, answering a question, or engaging. And now smart boards have come and gone, but they largely were this kind of technology. Do you remember film strips? Do you remember the student that got to advance the frame when the record player went ding? Or maybe you were one of those very, very lucky people who got to load the film projector to get the film actually running through the sprockets and such. Me, I know, just even as a teacher, I loved the idea of being able to get my hands on stuff that had color and allowed me to create. So this isn't new. Progressive education, the idea about making school authentic and real and connected to what life is like.
Yesterday found only in a half dozen advanced experimental schools. Today in tens of thousands of public schools from Santa Monica, California to Bronxville, New York. Progressive education is in force. Learning by doing. Learning about practical everyday problems. Perhaps a traffic problem.
So the problems that we tend to attack are sometimes out of textbooks rather than from the world around us. And that maybe needs to change. I want to introduce you just briefly to David Kelly. He is at Stanford and the founder of IDEO. It's one of the most creative think tanks in the world. But he knows that it takes talents from different areas and different skill sets put together to get the best solutions.
The big thing about design thinking is it allows people to build on the ideas of others. Instead of just having this one thread, you think about it. I come up with an idea, and then somebody from somewhere else says, "Oh, that makes me think we should do this," and then we could do that, and then you get to a place that you just can't get to in one mind.
If you follow David Kelly around IDEO, you can see how he has infused that thinking into the legendary Palo Alto firm he founded more than 20 years ago. Breakthrough ideas happen every day here. The key to unlocking creativity at IDEO may be their unorthodox approach to problem solving. They throw a bunch of people with different backgrounds together in a room.
So you're in the business end?
Yeah.
My background's in software engineering.
Journalism.
Aerospace engineer.
Doctors, opera singers, and anthropologists, for example, and get them to brainstorm.
You got to have a certain culture. You got to have collaboration. You got to have diversity. You got to have an anthropologist and a business person and an engineer and a computer scientist, all of those kinds of...
You got it. That's the hard part, is the cultural thing of having a diverse group of people and having them be good at building on each other's ideas.
David's program, D School at Stanford, is so engaging that the 50 professors that work for him, 50 to 100, Stanford, these are the most educated people maybe in North America, and they don't get paid to work that course. The students that come, they come and create, and they do not get credit for it. It's the engagement that matters. So I know I've worked with students in a number of capacities, and one of the things that we did was had students sort of imagine what the school of tomorrow might look like, what the classroom might look like. And students designed incredible things in teams where they took on different roles, roles of teachers, roles of futurist, roles of student, roles of parent, roles of administrator, and they designed and created really, really cool projects. What was frustrating to me is that this idea about working with mentors and designing with an eye to the technology, where that's going to take us, was seen as super, super visionary, and the fact that it made the newspaper as something really brand new, when in fact we know that this kind of thing should have been going on for like 75, 80 years. So when I saw what IDEO did with the desk, I was both surprised pleasantly And then I had other feelings about it too.
It's why Steelcase, a company that has been building furniture for 100 years, turned to IDEO to reinvent the classroom chair.
This is one of my favorite things. I want you to sit in this
Oh,
chair.
I love this.
So
Really was.
this is for kids,
Yeah.
right? So
Well, I'm a kid, so there
That's
you
right,
go.
You're perfect. So when we looked at that old wooden thing with the dog egg leg kind of stuff,
right.
and if you just watch kids and see what they need, what do they need? Well, the main thing they need is a place to put their backpack.
Yeah.
Right. So
Right,
you got
right.
a place to put your backpack, and then they
Yeah,
need it to.
right there.
They're fidgety. They want to move around, so you put it on wheels, right? And in getting in and out of it, you know, you need to this. So
It's not rocket science, it's what?
it's empathetic.
Empathetic.
Empathetic to people. Like really, like try to really understand what they really value.
So a couple of things. First, empathy, really being identified with the situation of the person you're working to design for. That's a really, really critical component of design thinking. But secondly, this desk, we heard David say, the students are fidgety. They need to move around. They don't need a desk like that. We really need to think, well, I mean, to David's credit, he's looked at what current students' life is like rather than looking at what their life should be like in the classroom. And I think that's where we want to go when we take a look at design thinking as teachers is where would we design classrooms and teachers based on what school should be like rather than what it is like. Sure, this is a desk that's great for students that are in the current situation a lot of the time, but what would that desk look like if we were to reimagine it for what a classroom might look like if we were actually doing sort of design thinking and really engaging things? So just let me share you this story about how we can build in interdependence among participants. I had a chance a few short years ago to go to Shanghai to work with some teachers on project-based learning. So they gave me this cohort of teachers from international schools all across that part of the world, Bangkok, Hong Kong, China. And these teachers came from different sensibilities. They came as phys ed teachers, they came as history teachers, geography teachers, language teachers. We had a drama teacher in the group, and they each had interests. We had people who did video editing. We had people who loved to make music on their computer. We had writers. We had just a really, really unique crew to pursue project-based learning. So what did we do?
For most of this, so
Well, the first part, the color part,
Yeah.
she's happy.
okay.
That's good.
Okay.
It's not until she gets to
To
the
the class.
share.
For most of this, so
Well, the first part, the color part,
Yeah.
she's happy.
okay.
That's good.
Okay.
It's not until she gets to
To
the
the class.
share to school. She like maybe she's walking, everything's okay. Then she turns up and then she's getting ready.
All she's gonna do.
But I mean, we can still, yeah, we can still film
Let's have you do that without the camera.
Yeah.
So Andrew, this one's without filming, just so that you can kind of see where her head's going.
computers and maybe
3,
it's
2,
all about
and
their
stop.
skills.
So the task we settled on was that the group would design and produce a video that documented the value of project-based learning. And they took all their different skill sets and chose roles for themselves, put it together. The end product looked something like this. This is just a minute of the beginning of the movie that they made. If you attend the session, you'll get a chance to see the rest of it. But the idea is that by giving people different roles, a project has everyone interdependent and responsible for a role, a part that helps make the final product come together. We'll experience that firsthand if you choose to participate. So we're looking for teachers from different schools to come together to work and learn together. Ideally, we're looking for teachers that are junior and intermediate grades, so roughly grade 4 to grade 10. And you should check before you sign up with an administrator at your district school board who's supervising the registration. We're limited to 40 participants from your board. So check there first And then you can register via a link that they may already have sent you on this handout. At the very bottom of it, you'll see a link to Epic Making. That's where we can get some information at the Learning Partnership to keep track of who participated in the workshop. And since you'll be coming on a Saturday, we don't have to pay for supply teachers, so we have poured the money into gift cards. So anyone who comes as a teacher will get a $100 gift card for Staples, so that you can go and outfit your classroom with at least a little bit of materials to help do some of this hands-on stuff. We hope you'll be able to participate. Let me give the last word to John Dewey.
The world is moving at a tremendous rate. No one knows where. We must prepare our children not for the world of the past, not for our world, but for their world, the world of the future.